we can move on a fiscal policy communication. 1 year ago, the pandemic has just reached Europe. EU countries urgently needed to do everything they could to offset its economic impact. They needed maximum flexibility within EU fiscal rules for exceptional spending to finance healthcare response, to support their economies, preserve jobs and keep businesses afloat. This is when the European Commission proposed activating the General Escape Clause of the Stability and Growth Pact. This was for the first time ever, and we also provided the full flexibility of state aid rules. It was an unprecedented EU policy response and a key part of our strategy to respond quickly, forcefully, and in a coordinated way to the pandemic. That strategy has been successful. Fiscal and liquidity measures are estimated to have cushioned the GDP contraction in 2020 by around 4.5 percentage points. While the months ahead will still be difficult, there are now grounds for cautious optimism. Growth should resume in spring and gather momentum in the second half of the year as vaccination campaigns advance, pressure on health systems subside, and containment measures ease. However, we still face a lot of uncertainty, not least with the development of the pandemic and numerous risks. As the situation evolves, this is the right moment to think to the future in terms of our coordinated fiscal policy response. Today's communication provides a number of guiding elements for EU countries when they prepare their stability and convergence programs in April. First of these relates to the General Escape Clause. We propose that the decision on whether to continue or deactivate the clause should depend on overall assessment of the state of the economy using quantitative criteria. The key criterion to use would be whether the level of economic activity in the EU or Euro area exceeds the pre-crisis level of 2019. Based on the Commission's winter forecast, GDP should reach its 2019 level towards the middle of 2022. On this basis, the General Escape Clause remains active in 2022 and no longer in 2023. We plan to take a final decision in this regard in spring, also after consultations with Member States. Today, we are also giving Member States early guidance for designing their fiscal policies in the period ahead. Paolo will tell you more, but I would just like to highlight a few important elements. First, fiscal policies need to remain supportive this year and next. Support needs to continue as long as needed, and we should avoid its premature withdrawal. Then, support measures should be timely, temporary, and targeted. As we progress into post-crisis phase, they should focus more on promoting a resilient and sustainable recovery. In addition, we should keep a close eye on the composition and quality of public finances. Next, national fiscal policies should take into account the impact of the Recovery and Resilience Facility. This funding will provide a substantial economic impulse in the years ahead. RRF grants, for example, will make it possible to fund high-quality investment projects and cover costs of the reforms that raise productivity and without causing higher deficits and debt. Putting the national resilience and recovery plans in full and proper effect on the ground will raise potential growth and also contribute significantly to improving fiscal sustainability. We should not waste this unique opportunity. Lastly, national fiscal policies will need to become gradually more differentiated in 2022. EU countries with low sustainability risks should maintain a supportive policy, taking into account the impact of the RRF, and those with high debt levels should pursue more prudent policies using RRF grants to fund additional investment. We all know that today's fiscal support levels cannot remain in place forever. It would place an unacceptable burden on public finances in a longer term. This is why member states will, at the appropriate moment, need to refocus their budgets towards achieving prudent medium-term fiscal policies. Here, I would like to stress that we will continue to take country-specific situations into account, also after General Escape Clause is deactivated. The Stability and Growth Pact provides necessary flexibility to support the recovery. So, what are the next steps? In spring, we will propose country-specific recommendations, including some quantitative elements for medium-term guidance. And once the recovery takes hold, we will relaunch the debate on the economic governance framework when we can factor in lessons learned during the crisis as well as the new circumstances. Thank you, and now I hand over to Paolo.
Okay, good morning